I am Dr. Cezar Villarreal, and I want you to stop for a moment and ask yourself an honest question, one of those that echo in the silence of the night. Do you feel like your legs are carrying a weight that isn't just physical, that overwhelming heaviness at the end of the day, that dull ache that follows you like a shadow? Isn't it, in a way, a reflection of how you feel inside, tired, overburdened, stagnant? Your body, and especially your legs, which are the pillars that support you in life, are sending you a desperate message. They are telling you that the flow of life, of energy, of blood is not circulating as it should. And what many ignore, what the pharmaceutical industry sometimes prefers not to highlight, is that in nature, in your own kitchen, there exists a molecule, a vitamin that acts as a silent guardian, a true protector of those vital highways that run through your body. Neri, before we dive into this revelation, I want to ask you something. Below in the comments, tell me which of these sensations is most familiar to you. Heaviness, swelling, night cramps. Sharing your experience not only frees you, but also creates a supportive community where we all learn. And if you believe this knowledge is valuable, subscribe and activate the bell, because my mission is to give you the power of information so you can take control. Now listen carefully, because what I am about to say is fundamental and requires your total responsibility. The title of this video promises a vitamin that dissolves clots. I have chosen that word because it is powerful and grabs attention. But my duty as a doctor and as a human being committed to the truth is to be absolutely transparent with you. For you to understand the magnitude of the solution I am about to present, first we must understand the nature of the enemy we face. I want you to visualize your body not as a simple machine, but as a vibrant and complex metropolis. Your more than 96,000 kilometers of blood vessels, arteries, and veins are the roads, highways, and side streets through which the most precious resource circulates, your blood. Blood is not just a red liquid. It is a delivery vehicle that transports oxygen, nutrients, hormones, defense cells. It is literally the river of life. Arteries are the great highways that leave the heart, the power plant. Propelled by each heartbeat, they carry that oxygen and nutrient-rich blood to every corner of your being, from the neurons that are processing my words to the cells at your fingertips. They are a high-pressure, efficient, and fast system. Veins, on the other hand, are the return roads. They have a much more thankless and difficult task. Inside the veins of your legs, nature has installed an ingenious system, small one-way gates called venous valves. Imagine them like canal locks. They open to let blood flow up, propelled by the contraction of your leg muscles when walking, and immediately close to prevent gravity from pulling it back down. It's a perfect mechanism until it is. Chronic venous insufficiency, the mother of many of these problems, appears when these valves weaken, deform, become incompetent. Think of a door that has lost its hinges. It no longer closes tightly. Blood, instead of flowing efficiently upwards, begins to leak downwards, to stagnate, to accumulate in the veins of the lower legs. This accumulation of blood brutally increases the pressure inside the vein. The vein, which is a vessel with thinner and less muscular walls than an artery, begins to stretch, dilate, and twist under this constant pressure. And then they become visible through the skin. Those are the famous varicose veins. But I want you to understand something fundamental. Varicose veins are not an aesthetic problem. They are the visible alarm signal, the tip of the iceberg of a much deeper problem. They are the symptom of a failing road system, of chronic congestion that is creating the perfect breeding ground for a much greater danger, the formation of blood clots. Let's be fair. Not all clots are villains. Coagulation is a vital process, an extraordinary survival mechanism. When you get a cut, your body activates an amazing cascade of biochemical reactions. Tiny, wonderful cells, platelets, rush to the site of the wound like an emergency brigade. They adhere to the broken edges of the blood vessel and, together with a network of a protein called fibrin, form a plug, a patch, a clot, which stops the bleeding and prevents you from bleeding out. That's a good clot, a life-saving clot, a hero. The problem, the true existential danger, arises when clots form where they shouldn't, inside a healthy blood vessel without any wound to repair. We call this process thrombosis. A clot that forms inside a deep vein in the leg is like a multiple car accident, completely blocking one of those highways back to the heart. Blood traffic becomes slow, turbulent, chaotic. Blood cells collide with each other, activate, and the clot begins to grow, like a snowball turning into an avalanche. This is what we know as deep vein thrombosis, and it is an extremely serious medical condition. The danger does not end in the leg. In fact, that's where it begins. If a fragment of that clot, which we call an embolus, breaks off and is released into the bloodstream, it becomes a hired assassin traveling through your body. It will travel through increasingly wider veins, pass through the right side of your heart, and finally reach the lungs, where the arteries narrow again. There it will get stuck, blocking blood flow to a part of the lung. This is a pulmonary embolism, an absolute medical emergency that can cause death in a matter of minutes. That's why when we talk about dissolving clots from the perspective of prevention and natural health, what we are really asking is, how can we prevent the asphalt of our circulatory roads from becoming sticky and prone to these deadly blockages? How do we keep blood flowing light, fluid, and unobstructed? And it is precisely here, at the root of the problem, where intelligent nutrition and a particular vitamin come into play as the key piece, the guardian that can prevent a tragedy from beginning. Before I reveal the name of our nutritional hero, it is absolutely vital that you learn to listen to your body. Poor circulation and the risk of clots are not a bolt from the blue. They are the result of a slow and gradual process. Your body sends you signals, first as whispers, then as warnings, and finally as cries of pain. Ignoring these messages is allowing an enemy to grow in the darkness within you. Pay close attention, because I am sure you will identify with some of these signs, and recognizing them is the first step to acting. The first alarm signal: heaviness and chronic fatigue in the legs. This is perhaps the most common signal, and tragically, the one we tend to normalize the most. We attribute it to work, age, stress, but I'm not talking about muscle fatigue after exercising. I'm talking about an oppressive, overwhelming feeling of weight, as if you were wearing invisible shackles on your ankles. Your legs feel tired, without energy, and often the only relief, even if temporary, is to elevate them. Why does this happen? The second alarm signal is swelling, or edema in the feet and ankles. Do you notice that sock marks remain etched on your skin for hours? Or that shoes that fit perfectly in the morning become an instrument of torture by afternoon? That is edema. It is irrefutable proof that your venous system is failing. When pressure inside congested veins increases, blood fluid, plasma, is forced out of the blood vessel and accumulates in the interstitial space between cells. Gravity does the rest, pulling all that fluid towards the lowest areas, the ankles and feet. Initially, this swelling may disappear after a night's rest, with legs elevated, but as venous insufficiency progresses, the swelling can become persistent, hard, and painful. The third alarm signal: painful nocturnal cramps. You are in the deepest phase of sleep, and suddenly a sharp, electric, unbearable pain in your calf, foot, or toes violently awakens you. It's a cramp, an involuntary and brutal muscle contraction. These spasms are a classic sign that your muscles are suffering. Poor circulation causes two problems. First, not enough oxygenated and nutrient-rich blood reaches the muscle fibers. Second, waste products, like lactic acid, are not properly eliminated and accumulate, irritating nerve endings and causing these spasmodic contractions. They are the desperate cry of a poorly nourished and suffocated muscle. The fourth alarm signal is changes in skin and temperature. Your legs tell their story through your skin. You just have to learn to read it. Cold skin. If your feet are perpetually cold to the touch, even in a heated room, it's an unequivocal sign that arterial blood, warm and oxygenated, is not adequately reaching your extremities. Color changes. The skin can acquire a pale or even bluish tone due to lack of oxygen. In more chronic cases of venous insufficiency, the skin around the ankles can darken, becoming brown or reddish. This is called stasis dermatitis and is due to pressure being so high that red blood cells escape from the capillaries and release iron, which literally oxidizes and stains the skin from within. Dry, thin, and itchy skin. Poor circulation affects the nutrition of all cells, including those of the skin. It becomes dry, flaky, thin, shiny, and often intensely itchy. It is fragile and vulnerable skin. The fifth alarm signal is tingling and numbness. That sensation of ants crawling on your skin or of a part of your leg or foot falling asleep is not always due to poor posture. When blood flow is deficient, peripheral nerves also do not receive the oxygen and nutrients they need to function correctly. Their way of protesting, of sending a distress signal to the brain, is by generating these anomalous sensations of tingling, prickling, or numbness. The sixth alarm signal, the appearance of spider veins and varicose veins. These are the most visible and obvious signs. Spider veins are those small networks of red or blue veins very close to the skin surface. They are the miniature version of varicose veins, which are larger, dilated, twisted, and swollen veins that often protrude from the skin. Both are irrefutable proof that the venous valves are not functioning correctly. Pressure is increasing and blood is accumulating where it shouldn't. They are the visible map of your circulatory problem. And the seventh alarm signal, wounds that take an eternity to heal. This is one of the most serious alarm signals. If a small cut, scratch, or blister on your lower leg or ankle takes weeks or even months to heal, or worse, turns into an ulcer that won't close, it's a sign of severe circulatory insufficiency. The healing process is a complex symphony that requires an abundant supply of blood to bring oxygen, nutrients, growth factors, and immune system cells to the damaged area. Poor circulation completely halts this symphony, leaving the door open to serious infections and complications that can compromise the limb. Recognizing these 7 signs is not to scare you, but to empower you to take responsibility. It's your body screaming at you to do something. And the solution, as we are about to see, begins on your plate and with a nutrient that has often been ignored or underestimated. We have explored the problem, mapped the territory of suffering, and learned to decipher the alarm signals. The time has come to introduce the protagonist of our story, the molecule I call the protective shield of your blood vessels, vitamin E, or tocopherol, and allow me to repeat my initial warning because it is the cornerstone of a responsible approach. Vitamin E is not a chemical plumber that will dissolve an existing clot. Its power, which is immense and scientifically validated, lies in prevention. Its job is to create an internal environment hostile to clot formation. It acts like the wise gardener who tends the soil so that weeds do not grow, instead of the one who has to pull them out when they have already invaded the garden. How exactly does it do this? Let's discover its mechanisms of action. To understand why vitamin E is so crucial for your vascular health, we need to see it act on 3 simultaneous battlefronts within your body. The first front, the antioxidant guardian. Our body, simply by living, breathing, metabolizing food, generates highly unstable molecules called free radicals. We also absorb them from outside, from pollution, tobacco smoke, solar radiation. They are inevitable. These free radicals are like little molecular vandals that go through the body causing damage, oxidizing everything they touch. And one of their favorite targets are the delicate inner walls of our blood vessels, the endothelium. This damage causes chronic low-grade inflammation and creates rough surfaces where platelets and cholesterol can easily adhere. This is where vitamin E comes into action like a superhero. It is a fat-soluble vitamin, which means it dissolves in fat. It positions itself as a bodyguard in the very membrane of the vascular endothelium cells and protects them from within. It acts as a shield, sacrificing itself to neutralize free radicals before they can cause damage. By keeping the walls of veins and arteries smooth, flexible, and free of inflammation, vitamin E ensures that blood flows as if down a water slide, without obstacles. The second battlefront is its anti-aggregating effect. This is perhaps its most direct and fascinating effect in clot prevention. As we have already explained, platelets initiate clot formation. Normally, they float inactive in the bloodstream. However, when vessel walls are damaged or inflamed, platelets activate, become sticky, and begin to clump together. Vitamin E exerts a subtle but very significant antiplatelet aggregation effect. Imagine it coating each platelet with a microscopic layer of Teflon. It doesn't prevent them from activating if there's a real wound, but it drastically reduces their tendency to stick together when unnecessary. Scientific studies suggest that vitamin E inhibits an enzyme that plays a key role in platelet activation. It is vital to understand the difference. An anticoagulant medication blocks the production of clotting factors. An antiaggregant medication like aspirin blocks an enzyme. Vitamin E, on the other hand, modulates this process in a natural and much gentler way. It does not replace these medications, but it does contribute to making the blood less sticky and therefore less prone to forming clots where it shouldn't. And the third front, the blood vessel dilator. Vitamin E also helps blood vessels relax and widen slightly, a process called vasodilation. It achieves this in part by protecting nitric oxide from oxidation, a key molecule that relaxes the muscles and vessel walls. When vessels are wider and more relaxed, blood pressure tends to decrease, and blood flows more easily with less turbulence. It's like going from driving in rush hour on a narrow street to driving on a newly paved 3-lane highway. The journey is smoother and safer. In summary, vitamin E does not aggressively dissolve clots. Its strategy is much smarter. It creates an internal environment where it is extremely difficult for clots to form. It protects vessel walls, makes platelets less reactive, and helps keep the roads clear and wide. It is the personification of intelligent prevention. Now that you understand the why, let's move to the how. The best, safest, and most effective way to obtain vitamin E is through food. Nature, in its infinite wisdom, has provided us with a pantry full of this nutrient. Supplementation is a completely different matter, a therapeutic tool that should only be used under strict medical supervision. My recommendation as a doctor is always, and without exception, food first. Here are the best and most delicious natural sources of vitamin E. Sunflower seeds are the undisputed queens. Just a quarter cup, about 30 to 40 grams, of roasted sunflower seeds provides you with almost 100% of the recommended daily allowance. Almonds are another giant. A handful of almonds, about 20 to 25 units, gives you a formidable dose of this antioxidant. Hazelnuts are also an excellent source. They combine wonderfully with dark chocolate with over 70% cocoa. Cold-pressed vegetable oils. Here, quality is key. Wheat germ oil is the most concentrated, but high oleic sunflower oil and extra virgin olive oil are magnificent sources. The key is to use them preferably raw. Intense heat can destroy vitamin E. Spinach and broccoli. We cannot forget leafy green vegetables. Try to include a generous portion in your lunch and dinner every day. Avocado. This creamy and delicious fruit is a nutritional marvel. And finally, fatty fish, like wild salmon, trout, or sardines, also provide a small but valuable amount of vitamin E. Integrating these foods into your daily life does not require titanic effort. A breakfast with oats, almonds, and seeds, a large salad for lunch with spinach, avocado, and olive oil, and a dinner with baked salmon and steamed broccoli. With these simple changes, you will be building natural armor for your circulatory system from the inside out. We live in an age of immediacy where a pill seems to be the easy solution for any problem, and with vitamin E, I have to be extremely clear and emphatic. Do not self-medicate with high-dose vitamin E supplements. While vitamin E obtained from food is completely safe, concentrated supplements are a very different story. The body has evolved to manage nutrients from food, but a megadose in pill form can unbalance your delicate internal biochemistry. The main and most documented risk of excessive vitamin E supplementation is an increased risk of bleeding. This is especially dangerous for people already taking anticoagulant or antiaggregant medications, as the combination can potentiate the effect and cause severe hemorrhages. For this very reason, it is standard protocol to discontinue any vitamin E supplement at least 2 weeks before undergoing any surgical procedure. So, when might a supplement be necessary? Solely and exclusively under a doctor's prescription and diagnosis. The message is unequivocal: trust nature's pharmacy. Your plate is the most powerful, safe, and effective tool you have. It would be a huge mistake, a scientific reductionism, to think that vitamin E is a silver bullet. Vascular health is a comprehensive project, a team effort. Vitamin E can be the team captain, yes, but it needs the support of other key players to win the game against poor circulation. For example, vitamin C, essential for collagen synthesis, the protein that gives structure to veins, flavonoids, present in citrus fruits and berries, which strengthen capillary walls, magnesium, crucial for the relaxation of arterial muscles. Omega-3 fatty acids, powerful anti-inflammatories. And hydration, which is just as important. Your blood is approximately 92% water. If you are dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker and the risk of clot formation increases. Drink enough water throughout the day. Don't wait until you're thirsty. But you can have the most perfect diet in the world, and if you lead a sedentary life, your efforts will be in vain. Movement is the fundamental engine of circulation in the legs. Walk, walk, and walk. With every step you take, your calf muscles contract and squeeze the veins, forcefully pushing blood towards the heart. This mechanism is called the muscle pump, or as I like to call it, our second heart. Try to walk at a brisk pace for at least 30 to 45 minutes a day. If you spend a lot of time sitting, take active breaks every hour. Stand up, walk a little, and perform simple exercises. Move your feet up and down, make circles with your ankles, stand on your tiptoes several times. These simple gestures powerfully activate that second heart. And at the end of the day, give yourself an act of love. Lie down and elevate your legs against the wall for 15 to 20 minutes. This uses gravity to your advantage to help drain accumulated blood and fluid. Vitamin E is a fundamental piece, but only when you fit it within a complete framework of good nutrition, hydration, and an active lifestyle does it unleash all its majestic protective potential. I hope this detailed information has opened your eyes to the true power of prevention. Now, I want to ask you three important things. First, and this is the most crucial, this video is educational and under no circumstances replaces a consultation with your doctor. If you have persistent symptoms of poor circulation, painful varicose veins, or if you are already taking anticoagulant medications, it is absolutely essential that you speak with your doctor before making any changes. The responsibility is yours. Second, if this explanation has provided you value, please share this video. Think of your mother, your father, a sibling, or a friend who always complains about tired legs. Sharing truthful and quality information is an act of care. And third, I would love for this community to grow. Leave me a comment below and tell me from which country you are watching me and which of the vitamin E-rich foods you plan to incorporate first and in what way. I will read and respond to as many comments as possible. Okay. To conclude, let's review the essence of what we have learned today. We have debunked the dangerous myth that a vitamin can dissolve already formed clots, and we have understood that its true and immense power lies in intelligent prevention. We have discovered that vitamin E is an extraordinary protective shield that defends the integrity of our blood vessels, modulates platelet stickiness, and helps blood flow in a healthy way. We learned that the safest and wisest way to obtain it is through delicious foods like sunflower seeds, almonds, or avocado, and that high-dose supplements carry risks and should only be taken under strict medical supervision. And above all, we have understood that vascular health is a comprehensive project. Vitamin E is a star, but it shines more intensely when accompanied by other nutrients, adequate hydration, and fundamentally an active lifestyle. Do not underestimate the signals your body gives you. That heaviness, that swelling, those cramps are not a condemnation, they are an invitation to act. Today you have acquired powerful knowledge. Do not leave it in a corner of your mind. Use it. Take the reins of your health. Start today to build a stronger, cleaner, and more resilient circulatory system. I am Dr. Cezar Villarreal, and my mission is to give you the science-based tools to live a longer, healthier, and fuller life. Thank you very much for your valuable attention.